Hey, and good morning. Uncle Lou here. Gotta make this video here today. It seems like, this happens all too often, but anyway. Now, this video is for Georgia fans. I know everyone else will watch it, and that's fine. And the people that normally comment on my videos that I'm gay or that I'm retarded will comment on this video too, that I'm gay or I'm retarded. That's fine. That's what you do. Uncle Lou leads a successful life and makes YouTube videos. You live in your mom's basement and call me gay and retarded, so I understand that, and that's fine. But anyway, fire Mark Richt. It seems like this is something that you hear every so often here about Coach Richt, and I've always been a supporter of Coach Richt. Now, that doesn't mean I've been happy with every decision that he's made or, happy with the outcome of every single game. Of course not. I have issues and problems with Coach Richt, just like most people do. But I just want everybody to, if you're of the opinion that Coach Mark Richt should be fired, then that's perfectly okay. I mean, you're entitled to have that opinion, the same way that any fan of any team is entitled to their own opinion as far as, where that program is going or where that program is at or what they think about the head coach and things like that. You can have that opinion, and I'm not here to tell you that you're wrong if you're of the mindset that Coach Richt should be fired. I just want, I just want everyone to understand, what you're asking for if you really want Coach Richt to be fired yesterday or tomorrow or at the end of this year or whatever. I mean, look around at some other programs who have made questionable coaching changes. And by questionable, I mean getting rid of good coaches. Tennessee is a prime example. And this video isn't to rag on Tennessee. Tennessee's on the improvement. They're looking better. They're going to be fine. But it took them a while to get there. If you fire Coach Richt, who are you bringing in? Whoever you want to bring in, think of the pressure that coach, that you're putting on that coach. What can a new coach do that Coach Richt is not doing? There's only one thing, and that's win it all. That's it. Anything short of that would be a letdown for any potential coach you bring in. Coach Richt has averaged 10 wins a year over 14 years in the SEC. He's the longest tenured coach in the SEC. Those things don't happen by accident. He routinely has a top 5 or top 10 recruiting class. Regardless of what you might think of some of the off-the-field issues, he runs a clean program. What he's done is not easy to do, and to do it over the period of time that he's done it is a remarkable accomplishment. And let's face it, Georgia fans, UGA, as much as we want them to be, UGA is not a traditional power in college football. By that I mean that they're not a team that has won titles in multiple decades over the last 50 or 60 years. They're just not. That's just not the program that we are. We're not an Alabama or a Michigan or a Southern Cal. These schools, there's certain schools where if you're offered a job at that school, you take it, no matter where you're currently at. Georgia's not one of those schools. There's not very many coaches coming through the ranks right now whose dream job is to coach at Georgia. That is the case for an Alabama, a Michigan, a Southern Cal, a few other schools you could throw in there. And, you know, I'm 36 years old. I remember what it was like to have Jim Donnan and Ray Goff and struggle for bowl eligibility every year. People act like that was 30, 40, 50 years ago. It wasn't. It was 16, 17, 18 years ago, 20 years ago. Georgia struggled under these guys after Vince Dooley left. Coach Richt has gotten Georgia to a place now where we're sort of stuck in a weird middle. No, we haven't won any national titles, but we're beating our rivals on a fairly consistent basis. And again, this isn't a shot. This video is not a shot at any other team. So I don't want anybody to take it that way, but you know, we're 3-1 in the last 4 against Florida. We're 4-0 in the last 4 against Tennessee. I think we're 2-2 in the last 4 against Auburn. We've beat Tech 12 out of the last 13 years. And regardless of what we think as fans, we all have our own, you know, our own personal school that we hate for whatever reason. For Uncle Lou, that school is Carolina, because I live on the border of South Carolina. I know a lot of South Carolina fans personally. So for me, that's the most important game of the year, is Carolina, because I have to see the Carolina fans year round, and it's a bragging rights thing for me. But for the big time boosters and the alumni at UGA, I understand that the Carolina game's not really on their radar. The big time boosters, the administration, the athletic department, the alumni, these folks are concerned about Florida, Georgia Tech, Auburn, Tennessee. And Richt has done fairly well against those programs. We haven't won a national title, and that's disappointing. I'm not trying to sugarcoat it. There's 2 or 3 years in particular where I honestly felt we underperformed, and it cost us big time. I think it's too early to say whether this year is one of those years. Yeah, we looked good against Arkansas and Missouri, but it was Arkansas and Missouri. We're not a top 5 team this year. We're just not. Even with Todd Gurley, we're just too inexperienced on defense, and we're behind the 8 ball at the quarterback position this year. So yeah, we have 2 losses, but look at it realistically. We have a shot to go 10-2. In my opinion, at worst 9-3. Not very many coaches who go 9-3 are going to get fired. I understand the Florida game was very disappointing. Not even the fact that we lost, but just the way that we lost, and the team just looked underprepared, and they didn't seem excited for the moment. And it seems like that's happened a few times, and I get it. It's frustrating. It's frustrating to me too. But look at some of the greatest coaches in the history of college football. Look at Vince Dooley, if you're a Georgia fan. He didn't win his first national title until, I think, his 17th year. So Richt hasn't even got to his 17th year yet. The great Bear Bryant never lost a game, right? Actually, it took him 17 years to win his first national title. Mac Brown. It took him, I think, 22 years, I think it was, to win his first title. Joe Paterno didn't win a title for about his first 20 years. Bobby Bowden at Florida State. Everybody knows how good he was. The records that they had with the top 5 rankings and things like that. Took him 28 years. 28 years to win his first title. We want everything now, and that's the difference, in society as a whole now and the way it was 30, 40 years ago. People aren't willing to wait. They want what they want, and they want it yesterday. and it's hard to wait. Bear Bryant, 17 years to win a title, 18 years to win a title. It took Bear Bryant at Alabama. If that happened today, they'd probably run him out of town. Or you'd have fire Bear Bryant websites, or just like people are screaming to fire Mark Richt. But I just think as Georgia fans, instead of always looking at the negative, and like I said, there has been some head scratching, frustrating losses. But don't act like UGA is the only team that ever has those losses. Nick Saban lost to Louisiana Monroe. His first year. So, these kinds of things happen to every team and to every coach. But to put Coach Richt on a rail and run him out of town, not knowing who you even want to bring in to replace him, I think is just a dangerous road to go down. And like I said, he's won SEC titles. He's won the East multiple times. We've been to and won BCS games, and we've had some disappointments too. Like I said, I'm not here to sugarcoat anything or to just tell you how great Coach Richt is. You need to think about what the alternative could be. And like I said in the beginning, whatever coach you bring in, there's only one possible scenario where that coach could be considered a success. And that would be a national title. That's the only thing a change at head coach could deliver to Dog Nation that Coach Richt has been unable to deliver. And it's not easy. It's not easy to win a title. Even Alabama fans will tell you that it's not easy. They've found a way to do it several times here over the last 5 or 6 years, but that doesn't mean it's easy. It's not easy. It takes a little bit of luck. It takes a little bit of opportunity. It takes some talent, and it takes some coaching, and everything has to come together in just the right way. And, people are throwing out all these names of who they want to replace Coach Richt. Jim Harbaugh's a popular one, the coach of the 49ers. Now, he's a good coach, and he did good at Stanford. But how many national titles did he win at Stanford? 0. None. It's not easy. So, let's see how the rest of this season plays out. We should beat Kentucky. We should beat Georgia Tech. And we should beat Charleston Southern. Auburn, it's going to be a tough game. So, at worst, we should finish 9-3. A lot of teams in the country love to be 9-3. Love to be 9-3. A lot of teams in the SEC would love to finish 9-3. So I just wanted to make this message. Something that's kind of been bugging me since Saturday after the game. And I understand people like to overreact, but there's just been a lot of negative criticism thrown on Coach Richt. And ask yourself this as a Georgia fan. Do you want Florida to fire Will Muschamp? I don't. So look around. Do you think South Carolina fans want UGA to fire Richt, or Florida fans, or Tennessee fans? Because you got a lot of these fans too. Teams, fans of other teams. Oh, Georgia can't win it all. Georgia's never going to win it with Richt. They're never going to. If they really felt that way, they would want UGA to keep Coach Richt. Just like I want Florida to keep Muschamp. But they don't feel that way. They want Richt to get fired. Because they know that more likely than not, what will happen if Richt gets fired is UGA will go through a 5 or 6 year period where they struggle to get to 6-7 wins. It happens all the time. So Coach Richt is not a bad coach. He's not a bad person. He's made some mistakes. He's not perfect. But just consider the alternative before you jump off the Mark Richt train. Good morning. Oh, go Dogs!